Sharon Shattuck, and I'm the co-director of the film Picture a Scientist, which won the AAAS Kavli Video In-Depth Reporting Gold Award. You have to, like, as a filmmaker, you're always kind of, you have this diagram in your mind of, like, who do you want this film to be the primary audience? Who's your primary audience? Who's your secondary audience? And you kind of move out from this, like, core. And for us, it was always scientists. It was scientists that we really wanted to get this film out in front of scientists and try to change the conversation within the sciences about the way, like, these subtle discriminations and these little acts can affect a person's career. And so it's been really validating to see how it's been received in the scientific community. And we've been on so many panels where, for like really big institutions, where somebody will say, you know, I've been here for 40 years and we've never had a conversation like this before. And for us, that's such a great thing to hear, because it's like, great, like, let's start talking. You know, I hope, it's just so cool to have our film be like the match that's sparking this conversation for the first time. It was not easy reporting on such an emotional subject and talking to people about their trauma, basically asking people to relive their trauma. I would kind of get into a room with our subjects and try to be comfortable and talk for a while and let them kind of get to know me as much as they could in that amount of time, so that it wasn't just like me sort of bombarding in and peppering them with questions and then flying away again at the end of the day. It's just not easy to get into really complicated, you know, difficult storytelling, and we really wanted to give them the space to tell us what they thought was important to include in the film. If I was going to give advice to other journalists who are covering really sensitive topics around people who might be traumatized or have lived something really difficult, I would say, like, to try not to just like look down your list and sort of read off a question and not really, you want to be listening to the person. You want to be a good listener and really have a conversation and build off of the question before and kind of just validate them and be there with them in the moment and try to be really present. And I know that's hard to do when you're like also looking ahead and you're trying to think in your mind, oh, am I forgetting anything? Did they say that right? Do I need them to do another take? But it is really important to try to stay in the moment as much as you can. Our original plan was a little amorphous. Like, at first we were really interested in Nancy Hopkins' story and the MIT story, but then we quickly realized, oh, that this is more than just MIT. This is a bigger story about women in science. And I think that's where it got exciting for us, because at first we kind of knew what the story was because it had all kind of happened in the past. And then once we found Rachel and Jane, Dr. Willenbrang and Dr. Birx, we realized, oh, this is still ongoing. There's a lot of really interesting stuff here. It just felt more like a film that we wanted to make, actually. So how did we find the balance between the personal and the data? Because we knew that we wanted these personal stories to be front and center for these different scientists, but we wanted the data to like back them up and kind of underscore that these aren't just like cases of bad luck, like that this is a systemic issue. And we watched a early cut that was like 2.5 hours long, and it just felt like there was so much happening, and we just wanted a little more of those stories, those personal stories. So it was a real, like, a labor of love, really, to get to the balance that we have in the film now, which I think I would estimate is like maybe 70% personal stories and 30% data, something like that. But that's not a hard science number. So I do have a background in the sciences myself. I'm a forest ecologist by training and a botanist, which sort of seems like the same thing sometimes when I say it out loud, but it really isn't. Like with botany, it's like I'm really good at identifying things with a Latin name and and figuring out what they're related to. But yeah, so that's my background, and I guess going through the filmmaking process and interviewing everybody, I did very much identify with their experiences, because I've been in the field, I've done field research, and I've lived in places outside of like the university setting and done my work. And I could see how you could get into these situations and be in these positions where you don't really know what to do, and you know, you're kind of isolated from people, or you don't want to like say something because you don't want to seem unprofessional or difficult or whatever. The reception of the film has been completely overwhelming. It's been more than we ever would have hoped. Like, the film broadcast on PBS, on Nova, and then it's on Netflix worldwide now. And it's also been screened in so many institutions, like huge places like NASA and of course MIT, and some labs like Cold Spring Harbor lab is using it as a training tool now for all new hires. So it's required viewing for all new hires, and that's just like such an honor to feel like people really care about this film. And yeah, so I'd say like within the scientific community, it's just been like really wonderful, and we're really pleased with that. It is a film that I believe can draw people from all across whatever discipline you work in. Just any woman in the workplace, I think, can see this movie and say, oh yeah, I recognize that. So I hope that, yeah, I hope that people take away from the film that like we can all do better at making our workplaces more inclusive and just being more inclusive to women.